Hey everybody, how you doing? Hope you're having a good weekend. I'll follow a similar format to last weekend's video. I'm just going to run through a bunch of charts fairly quickly of some of the best setups I like coming into next week. So, as I mentioned before, the weekends are a really good time for me to get organized. I like to look through a bunch of charts and get a focused watch list together. And it's this watch list that I typically use to enter most of my trades for the next trading week. So these were some ones that stuck out to me. So I'll get going. First one's Nordstrom. We have this area here, around $54. That's been resistance here and here and here, kind of consolidating around that level. So Friday almost got me in. I wanted to wait to see how it closed, and I'm glad I did. It closed pretty weakly. But if we can get a close, above 54, 54.25 or so, and clear this yellow highlighted level, this would be one I'd like to get long potentially next week. So keep your eye on that one. Next one is another retail name. SIG Signet Jewelers. We have this area here, $60. This is, technical analysis 101. It was support here, gap below it, acted as resistance, came back to retest it, resistance again. So if it can crack above this level, that might bring some buying demand in. So we're right there. If it can move up about another, to 60.50 or $61, I think this one looks like a nice potential long idea. We have this big gap area here from November, so maybe you can use that as your target. If it fills some of that, that's about a 20% move. You can put your stop a little bit below the breakout level or below this last consolidation, however you like to set your stops. But if it could move, up just slightly out of this consolidation level, I think this one looks like a really nice potential long. So I'll be watching that one. Five Below, FIVE. This one had a really nice breakout last Wednesday, followed through decent Thursday, and then Friday gave it all back. It lost 4.62%, but it's still holding this level. I don't, I make my support and resistance. I don't use an exact price. I like to use kind of a range, and you can see it's still clearly in this range. Is resistance here, resistance here, resistance here, and it's right there. It's trading right there. So if it starts pushing above this 103 level, this would be one I'd look to potentially enter as a long with a stop not too far below that. If I dial this back longer term, it's in a huge uptrend, so a lot of demand for these shares. So if it can dig in here about 103 and start moving back up, this would be one I would have on my radar for a long next week. Energy name here, SM Energy. This $27, $28 level here was resistance here, kind of a shallower pullback. So we'll see if we can push through, this 28.50 level. If we do, we can get a close there. Look for me to potentially get long on this one. So keeping an eye on that. Another thing to point out, I keep the earnings dates on my charts here. So they pop up pretty easily. But this time of year, anytime it's earnings season, you want to be sure to keep your eye before you hit the buy button. You want to maybe double check on the earnings dates of these, because you most likely you don't want to buy something right before earnings. It's too much of a coin toss. Zixi, this is what I'm watching. This does have earnings soon, but it has this base right here about 550. It's just kind of consolidating right there. So if it could start to pull away and move up from that area, this would be one I'd consider for a long with the stop close beneath it. So watch it. That's ZIXI. Next one is WP. This broke above this 86 area, and now it's just kind of consolidating right there. So if this starts pulling out and up from this consolidation, this would be one I'd consider entering as a long with a stop a little bit below that yellow. So WP, that's one I have on my radar. This pullback play here in CF, we have this area, 42 here. That was the old high, broke above it, had a nice run, kind of dug in at that area there, and has kind of been moving up a little. It doesn't look like it quite wants to pull away, but if it can clear this 43 or so level, this would be one that I would consider as a long next week as well. TEVA, this has the area here, we'll call it 2250 or so was resistance here, consolidated, had that nice breakout there in June, and now it's kind of coming back and flirting with that level again. So I don't know if it'll get all the way there or it'll start running before that. No way to tell, but it's an area I'm watching. If we get a pullback there and it starts moving back up, I would potentially enter as a long with a stop a little bit below that level. IQ, this is one I've owned for a long time, since May, and I think it might be setting back up. I've sold some along the way. I've talked about the importance of that before. If I have a stock that's a big winner, I just know my personality. It's going to be really hard for me to hold it for those big long-term gains that everybody talks about how you want to get. It's just hard for me to hold it unless I, scratch that itch and capture some gains. So I've captured some gains on this, really reduced my position size, and I've held it, watched it go up, and then I've watched it go back down. And I think it's reaching a point right now. I put it in the video. It might be a potential re-entry. It had this really brief consolidation here around 30, came back, retested it. So I think that might be an area to trade off of. Hit that area about 3160 there. Had a nice candle Friday. So if this starts pushing up, I think it has nice trade potential with a stop a little bit below that yellow box there around $30. DIOD, I love this one. I'm going to zoom out to the monthly chart because this is just, I posted this one before, but it's just a really pretty breakout here. You could see this, this area around $35 was resistance here, no arrow there, but it was resistance there, and now we're breaking above it here. This is the monthly chart, and then on the daily, we're breaking above. It was, this 3740 level here in June and July. It kind of acted as resistance, and we're above that now too. So I like this one. A little longer term outlook on this one. I'm actually in this one right now, but I still think it's tradable, above this 35 level. So that's where I have my stop set, but I really like the multiple time frame breakout. I think this chart looks really good. So hopefully that helps give you some ideas for next week. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions, and of course feel free to check out ttptrading.com. It's both myself and CJ Agresta doing our best to educate and hopefully help people make some money. So check it out, ttptrading.com. I hope everybody has a great week, and we'll see you soon. Take care.